Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. Thank you for your 10 minutes of your time. We got some things to talk about. Let's get right into it. Um, Peace and blessings to you, your family. I hope that you are getting through this winter time with favor, grace, and mercy, peace, okay, justice if you need it. But more importantly, we want the angels in the Most High to look down on us with a smiling eye, okay, favor in our court. It's a lot of things that's going to happen in this month that's going to affect us throughout the rest of this year. The main thing that most people are concerned about is the vaccine mandate, okay? But we also got the new IRS rules, okay? So if you got a side hustle, it's time for you to turn that side hustle into a legitimate business, okay? This ain't financial advice, This ain't financial advice. Just letting you know, if you transacting over 600, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, eBay, they're looking at it, and Caesar want his cut. Okay, so it's best to just get you some write-offs and be able to benefit for doing business with the state. Okay, legitimate business. So we got the mandates. Okay, it's being challenged. If you haven't looked at your executive order that your governor has put out, remember, governors are on par with the president, okay? Governors are on par with the president. Executive order, when the governor puts out an executive order, it is just as, in fact, it has more weight than the president's order, okay? That's why they go to court. These are two sovereigns who are fighting for their sovereign rights, okay, or their abilities. The problem that we have right now is called police power, okay? For the most part, the Constitution gives states their own police power, okay? Let me read you the definition of police power. Police power, this is the short version. An authority conferred by the American constitutional system in the 10th Amendment, U.S. Constitution, upon the individual states, and in turn delegated to local governments, through which they are enabled to establish a special department of police, adopt such laws and regulations as tend to prevent the commission of fraud and crime, and secure generally the comfort, safety, morals, health, and prosperity of its citizens by preserving the public order, preventing a conflict of rights and common intercourse of the citizens, and ensuring to each an uninterrupted enjoyment of all the privileges conferred upon him or her by the general laws. Okay? Meaning your Constitution. Okay? There is conflict. Okay? Because the 10th Amendment, there are some powers that is not delegated to the federal government, okay, or its agencies, okay. And I listened to the oral arguments the other day of the justices. They arguing the mandates and what the nuances is, okay. The federal government's position basically is this is a new pandemic, now we have to do new things, okay. And the justices, they kind of was like, well, we hear you, but we can't say that because you didn't do that for other pandemics that we've had that was more severe, more worse. And some of the takeaways that came out of this was OSHA system, the OSHA agency does not give the agency sweeping powers, meaning their powers need to be regulated, and it can be also temporary. uh, OSHA Act from Justice Pryor, Justice Stevens, um, says that the OSHA Act doesn't have a clear, it's absent of a clear mandate. Okay, so it's not a mandate. Okay, so there may be some ambiguity in there. So it may be something they can slide in if they need to, but they still have problems with that because it starts to infringe on people. Okay, they need to know, does it cause an individual workforce hazard, or does that extend just in the workplace, or does it extend into the home? Okay, where does it stop and end at? Okay, because when you take a vaccine, it doesn't just affect you in your workplace. It affects you long term. Okay, you have to weigh the cost, risk, benefit analysis when it comes to this issue. All right, and that's another thing that the justice brought up. Um, uh, unvaccinated workers must balance the risk. Okay, that's what they brought up. They can't legally tell you to do it. Okay, they can't, because it is a power, right, that is reserved for the people. All right, it is an authority that is reserved for the people. All right, that's why they have the vaccine mandate or test or mask. So you have to make it known where you will stand on that. Okay, you have to talk to your employer in an intelligent tone. You have to put it in writing and let them know where you stand at. Okay, you're entitled to a religious exemption. Okay, now don't pull out your religious exemption now and you all wishy-washy throughout the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? Last year you wasn't even this religious or something, now you religious. Okay, you should have let that known from the dough where you stood at. Okay, your co-workers should already know where you stand at. All right. um the other thing that they brought up was where that's it. That's the things that they covered. Okay, so I covered that. South Carolina, I looked up the executive order, printed it out because I needed, utilizing it. And one of the good things about it, he shows that it's an emergency temporary standard. The rights of individuals to exercise their religious practice and observe their sincerely held religious beliefs. It's also with the Freedom and Restoration Act and codified in the statute 42 United States Code 2000 BB or BB4. And it's also codified in South Carolina sections 132 and 10 through 60. Okay, and that's how you usually want to cite the statute and law when you are giving notice to your employer, if it need be and come to that. But always do it in an intelligent tone. Never do it with malice or violence or verbal abuse. Just tell them, if they ask you, say, I will get back to you. Put it in writing. Send it to them. Make sure you sign it. Make sure you keep a copy for yourself. Copy to them and a copy to the executive, the CFO, not the CFO, the CEO of the company that you work for. Don't address it to human resources. It needs to go to the CEO. Okay, so that everyone is noticed all the way down. That you may give it up the chain of command, but it needs to be addressed to him or her in perspective, or them or they. Okay, just to cover all bases. That's what I want to talk about there, and I hope that you are being active because we are in the time of persecution. But the most High say that you will still receive houses, children, kids, and all the blessings in this life and in the age to come. Okay, so press on, press on, press on, and be wise. Okay, be harmless as a dove and wise as a serpent. Shalom.